Boom, we're back. What's up, everybody? We're back. We're back in New York at the home of TTM Academy, right here at Prospect Park. So we're in Brooklyn, and we're going to give a little test of this thing I just picked up at Best Buy. I actually did a little review of it earlier this morning, but it got deleted because my phone died. But yeah, so I'm just going to do a little test run of the PMOS 100 on this Lenovo M9 tablet I just picked up for $100. It's only $100 this tablet, so let's start it off. We're going to click on the TTM app. All right. And the cool thing is at night you'll be able to see everything better. So you see the interface has the white mode, and then it also has the dark mode. I like the dark mode more myself. I tend to be like more of a black t-shirt person myself. I like black t-shirts over white t-shirts. I feel like white t-shirts get dirty over time a lot easier. But I like the black interface more these days. But I like both the interfaces. We'll probably make more colors in the future. But yeah, so this is a great learning tool for people that are looking to learn turntablism. We'll be dropping a bunch of permutations of this in the future. So let's just give a little test run. This is a DJ Cubert's Prism Scratch. You know, these were all recorded using real cuts. You can speed up the cuts and slow down the cuts from, right now it's at 100 beats per minute, but you can go from 1 BPM all the way to 999 BPM. So this thing can go really, really fast, and you can make the scratches into total new types of sounds. So, you know, this can be used for producers who want to add some cuts in. We've got a bank of fresh and a bank of ah. So like you can see, this is fresh. All right, and then let's see, we can go to bank B, and that's going to be the ah scratch. All right, so, and then you can do, let's say I'm going to do a prism scratch with the ah scratch. It sounds a little bit different than how you would do it with the fresh scratch. All right, so we're going to be doing a bunch of, tutorials and stuff like that. And just, scratch theory lectures. But yeah, this year we're going to be, this decade, we're going to be expanding into rap as well, rap patterns, drum patterns. So we're going to be coming out with an almond drum version of this, where it's basically almond scratch drums of all these techniques. You know what I'm saying? For bridge, breakcore, and turntablism has always been a early form of breakcore. If you think about Steve D and all the things he was doing, just chopping up the breaks. And shout out to Spin Bad too. So you can do some transforms in here. So shout out to Spin Bad, Jazzy Jeff. There's this whole chart is also just a history lesson too of different techniques and different people that invented all these things, like Joe Cooley Scratch. So, you can use this as a learning tool. This is great for students. The PMOS 100 stands for Periodic Matrix of Scratches 100. So it's 100 modular, different scratch techniques. Because, the Matrix of Scratches, I wanted to make that an app, and it will be in the future, but it's just so kind of grandiose. It's like over 900 different scratches on that. And here, we broke everything down to about, 100 different modular cuts. So yeah, you guys may know the Matrix series from the very popular poster that's, people use around the world. And shout out to all the people that have been supporting with the posters. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in now. So, since, the past decade, we've been dropping these posters. And this TTM notation, I invented this, about 24 years ago. February 17th, 2000 is when I first released it as that was my second book on scratch notation called TTM 1.0. But my first book was called The Fundamentals, that I gave to John Carluccio and Ethan Bowden before we even released the second book. And I gave the first lecture on scratch notation at NYU, I believe in April of 2000. But so now we have an app that lets us learn it, so all these were recorded from, high resolution vinyl, rain mixer, and, just classical, scratch tools, with like a PDX 1000, a PDX 2000 turntable. All right, so these are all different modular techniques, and we're going to talk about DJ theory today, because most DJs might have like 3 different techniques. They might have a this nice forward cut, little baby cut. Maybe they can. Most people can do a chirp. Shout out to Jazzy Jeff and pushing the chirps and all that type of stuff. Him and Will Smith used to do the routine where he would do the chirps, more like this kind of chirp where it's like multiple chirps. That's a triplet chirp right there, and people would act like there was a bird in the in the building and in the like whatever auditorium they were playing in, but they had it as part of their routine. But yeah, most DJs have like 4 or 5 scratches in their arsenal, maybe 4, probably on average. But most turntablists might have like maybe 7, 8, maybe 9 scratches, maybe 7 scratches, but usually not more than like 7 different types of cuts. People can do a flare. Whoops, I hit the wrong one. I was just trying to make the screen turn back on because it was getting dark. Let's see, the flare up here. This is the reverse. See, there's a flare. So that's in most people's repertoire. Also this, doing a standard 2-click flare. So that's what, most people are doing these days. People will have some transforms. This transforms like this. That's the spin bad transform. And shout out to all the pioneers. Like I was saying, Steve, if you look at Steve D's actual, backspin, and that's, early breakcore, he's chopping up the beats, and, so we're coming out with the Amen version of this, which is going to be kind of like a turntablist breakcore kind of thing. Shout out to all the junglists out there. I'm more of a junglist person than a drum and bass person. So, all the breaks, that I drop in the future on battle records and stuff, it's all going to be stuff that's, what do you call it? Stuff that's going to be, break oriented. You know what I'm saying? Jungle oriented, not drum and bass oriented. I was never really a fan of, a lot of the drum and bass stuff. I've always been just a real hardcore junglist. As far as I just love to hear the sound of breaks being chopped up. So we're gonna drop this same TMOS 100, but it's gonna be the Amen sounds. So it's gonna be all Amen breaks, chopped up in 100 different ways, just like this. But let's get back to this. So like I was just saying, most in chirp flares, people have kind of been doing these in the past like 12 years. Only a couple people had those in the 90s. Excess might have been doing them. Pickles and people like that. Obviously, D Styles and, so many innovators. But yeah, shout out to everybody that I was shouting out this morning. My phone died and I didn't realize with Instagram, if it just dies and you can't save it, it never gets saved. But this is cool at night because there's no glare. Earlier this morning, there was a glare. But yeah, so, you got DJs like D Styles who are, dropping different cuts like, like this. There's so many cool things that you can do, and really there's an infinite number of things that you can do, even though, it seems like, oh yeah, I mastered it. I got these, those ones I was doing earlier, but there's so many different styles that you can do. My son was playing with this earlier today and he was really having fun with the lasers, right? And you see this reverse laser. But yeah, so, I like this one a lot, this 3-click orbit. And, shout out to, to all the pioneers, but shout out to DJ Discs too, for just inventing so many, techniques, within the orbit realm. There's just so many, things you can do, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you notice probably we didn't add crabs in here. I didn't add a crab scratch because you can just use the 4-cut and do that with the fader. And there's so many different types of crab scratches that you can do with, stretching out the crabs and stretching out how long the clicks are between each other. But we'll do tests like that in the future where we hook this up to different faders. Like we just got the Peruvian killer fader, and we're going to connect that to this. But this is a really cool product, this M9 tablet, because it's only $100. They got this for $100. It runs Android. So this is a test of the Android version on this M9 Lenovo. The last Android test we did was only on a little cell phone, so it's a lot cooler to be able to see the actual big screen. You can actually turn this sideways too, and then you can get it more of the standard way where it's actually 10 by 10. It's a 10 by 10 matrix of different of techniques. All right, so we're gonna turn this back around, and we're gonna look at just some of these techniques and what you can really do with this. It's really a powerful device. So this is like one of my favorites. I'll do the 3-click again. So it's pretty responsive. If you click on, if you run this through Bluetooth, it's going to be a very big latency. So if you're going to use this live, I would suggest that you plug in through the, through the headphone jack, to the 1/8 inch. You know what I'm saying? Because, it's just, you're not going to be dealing with latency and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say this is, so for producers can use this if they want to add some classical, fresh, or odd cuts into a song, because most of the time, if you have a synthesizer, the kits will have it'll have this in there, it'll have like a fast, something like that, just kind of stereotypical scratch noises within like a synthesizer kit. But this has everything, from the different types of power downs and different types of stabs, from the exponential ones to logarithmic ones to ones at constant speeds. You see all these, and just playing regular, right? All right. And this also hooks up with Bluetooth devices. We'll be hooking this up to different Bluetooth devices and stuff. We just dropped the classical version of this, also the hybrid version, which does classical and TTM. We'll give reviews on, go through that in the future. Demos, not a review, really. A demo. But yeah, we'll be doing demos and that stuff, kind of pen tests and stuff. But yeah, so let's go back and look at some of these. So, there's a lot of classic techniques in here, and I would always encourage turntablists to try to expand your repertoire of cuts. A lot of people feel they know enough and they don't need to learn more, and you don't have to learn more. You can be fine with those 5 cuts that we went over with earlier, where it's like, most people have these 5-6 things that they typically use. As you can see, even the Joe Cooley scratch is a classic one that a lot of people from the 90s have in their repertoire. But it was hard for a lot of people in the 90s to be able to make the shift from the closed faders like this to the open fader stuff like this, right? And you say even some of the new school open fader stuff. Let's do the M flare. Like, shout out to DJ Chile. He can do M flares. There's not a lot of people that can do M flares. A lot of people don't know the difference between all these things. But, over the years, people are going to start to be able to learn and recognize, the differences between all these things, because, as a scratch artist, there's nothing wrong with only having 2 types of scratches or 3 or 4. But, the people that have the more styles, we tend to look up to more. And that's why, for me, some of my favorite DJs are like, D Styles, Qbert, even E-Prom, even, Flip Flop, Kimelix, stuff like that. But I was saying earlier, Flip Flop was getting kind of rusty because, sometimes if you stay within certain styles and, you got to keep your speed up. And I noticed that being able to be literate in notation helps me not be rusty anymore, where I don't have to practice all the time. Because before I was fully literate and writing a lot of stuff, before I was, doing that, I feel like, I would get rusty way quicker. Like you have to kind of keep up your skill level. But once you're able to be literate and read, it's like reading. It's like once you go to school and you learn how to read whatever your first language is, it becomes pretty easy to just pick up a book and start reading again. You don't have to, you might not be as fast at reading at first, but you can pick it up much quicker. So I found that being able to execute a specific routine that's already written down and I'm sight reading it from that routine, as long as I can do that routine, then it just keeps my skills sharp. So I can take long breaks and come back and still be super sharp and still have my whole repertoire, just because that routine has most of my repertoire within it. So, we're used to hearing routines that have, just a couple of stuff in it. Most people are doing chirp flares, and, some people are even up on Qbert's crescent flare. But I noticed I did a whole lecture on the crescent flare and the three clicker, because they have the same sound but different movements, like, right? So if you do two chirp flares, it sounds like 1 3 click. You see if I do two of them, but obviously it's a different sound. The crescent flare is a lot choppier. The 3 click has those smooth open fader feel to it. But to a lot of people, it just all sounds the same. It just sounds like da 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 da, but there's a lot of ways to do da 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 da. You can go what da da da, or you could go da 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 da, or you could be, there's a lot of, there's ways that are more staccato, more choppy, so there's a lot of different, styles on here. And, there's just so many great turntablists out there. And shout out to the old school cats too, like I was saying before, DJ Swamp and 8 Ball and Joe Cooley and and all these people that have just given so many techniques to the mix, to the history of this great art form. And this is an art form that is mathematic, and TTM notation is the first music notation that's based on pure physics. These are, and calculus as well, because, when you're dealing with just waves, that's trigonometry. But once you start to cut the waves up like this is calculus. Calculus is when you're having waves cut up and you're having, like an open fader where there's no, there's no value for one particular point, but then, there's values right after that. You could have, you have asymptotes and you have different things like that, So an asymptote, for people that don't know, is when you're approaching a line and it just keeps getting smaller and smaller, like whether you're approaching infinity going upwards or down, or vertically or horizontally, you can have an asymptote. So like kind of like this, like a power down sound, this is kind of like an asymptote. It's never totally stopping, but it's going slow, and you cut it off before it stops, obviously, but you're hearing that power down sound or whatever. But yeah, so this is all mathematics, you know what I'm saying? So, and within, hip hop intelligentsia, or hip hop academia, not a lot of people are talking about this. A lot of this information is suppressed, positive hip hop, intellectual hip hop, but it's a good thing because things are changing right now, with the Kendrick Lamar stuff. People are gravitating back towards, intellectual rap and intellectual hip hop. And we're going to be dropping a rap version of this too, with rap patterns and stuff like that. 100 different modular rap patterns. We're going to be really going hard with this PMOS line and dropping a lot of different sample types. So this is the turntablist, classical scratch version, but we'll be dropping the Amen version next. And then also the animated versions. I'll be dropping the animated versions of this soon, where there's, instead of just static images here, there'll be actual animations. So yeah, and even we're dropping just so many different versions, language translation versions of this, even the actual periodic the periodic table of elements. It's like 108 of them or something, but we're going to be dropping like, the top 100. That last line of the last like 8 or so are all kind of rare elements that people don't even use anyway. So we're just gonna have a 100 element thing with all the different colors of all the different flames, and it's gonna be really crazy for the chemistry people out there. So you'll be able to type your own chemistry formulas with the actual chemistry version. So we're taking hip hop science in every single direction. We're not staying with turntablism. Turntablism is the kind of the foundation of hip hop science, but we're going to be taking it everywhere. So the lyrical transcription methodology, all different types of stuff, as well as the b-boy stuff. I'm going to be dropping a version of this that has 100 different dance techniques within it, with 100 different animations. Hopefully I'll be doing that with Kid Glide, me and Kid Glide. We actually were working for the U.S. Department of State for the Next Level program, teaching turntablism and breakdancing and Cartagena, and I was just telling him about this app idea I had, and he's down for it. But being able to program your actual break routines just like you could program your scratch routine. So let's go to the notator mode. So in the notator mode, let's start off with the chirp flare. Let's say and I add some stabs. Let me add a long transform after that. So you can write using TTM notation with this, just to jot some ideas down for yourself, or if you're, a producer, you want to actually record in a studio, or if you're just a student, like I was saying before, this works for students, for producers, for, people who can't physically scratch. Somebody might have a disability, or somebody just might not be fast enough, or, it's just like with synthesizers. Do you want to build a whole patch and spend a month building a patch, or do you, just want to use somebody else's patch? Oh, it said it paused for a second. Okay, so yeah. All right, okay, so we're back. So you can look at these like patches, you can look at them like techniques. If you're a producer, you can just sample the actual sound and move it around how you want. And you can, change the speed of this. You can change the speed of these things. Like I can go to, I can change this instead of 100 beats per minute. I can say it's, 113 beats per minute. So now when I hit all these, they're a little bit faster. You see, it's a little bit faster. And these are all time stretch. So, the pitch isn't changing. Once you start going really fast, the pitch, all these pitches are locked. So this is the PMOS 100 on the Android operating system. Let's go back to the notator mode. So yeah, with the notator mode, you can write stuff, right? Like a typewriter, and you can delete stuff too. I can delete that. My son was having fun with this today, deleting stuff. It's great for kids and learning, and it's great for learning physics, learning calculus, we're going to actually be putting the equations of these things, actually, of each function in the future. Like I was saying, we're going to have animated versions. It's going to be crazy. So we're really going crazy with this PMOS line, and, just love it. So let's keep going through this. And shout out to HP High Prism. He was talking about, are you going to drop the VST version or the audio unit version? Yeah, that'd be great for the future. But right now I'm focused on this is the only hip hop standalone app actually that there is. So really I'm focused on expanding this, and we're actually working on a whole sequencer mode, but the sequencer mode is not actually ready yet. But the sequencer mode will be ready in the future, but we're still working on that. So it's going to be a fully functioning turntablist sequencer where you'll be able to actually sequence these cuts out. Now you can just sample things in and move them around, or play it live yourself with these sounds or whatever. But like I was saying before, you can use your Bluetooth keyboard to control these. And see, this is like a 2-click that most people don't do. There's so many 2-click variations. You can refer to my video, I think it was like 7 2-click variations or something like that. There's a lot of different 2-click variations, more than just 7, I think. But, there's so many different permutations of these things, right? These are all different types of 2-clicks, right? And here's another 2-click. I do that one a lot. And that one you can put a little pause in the middle, and it sounds even more funky. It sounds like. And shout out to I think it was DJ Trouble that made the lead scratch. That's one of my favorites of new school scratches. And most people can't do this scratch, and they never even heard this scratch. And if you do that scratch, most people think you're just doing a baby scratch and maybe some transform after it or something, because if you've never seen these scratches written out or never really heard them, then you're most likely just going to think there's something else. It's like if you hear somebody and you don't know a particular language, it just kind of all sounds like gibberish. and you might, you don't hear the nuance of all these things. But yeah, for turntablists, there's a real nuance, and this is the first, design for turntablists. The nuance. So, and yeah, let me get off of here. I got a bunch of calls coming in, but let me see how to save this. Let me see. Are there any questions from anybody? Oh, shout out to Go Voltron. Yeah, I'll hit you with the newest update, because we got the hybrid classical version working now as well, that has the TTM notation and the classical notation at the same time. But yeah, so let's go to change the theme to live. Let's hit typewriter mode, and in typewriter mode, let's click down here. I'm just gonna, you see that? So that's another mode you can use. What's funny about typewriter mode is you can also, click audio, and I can be like, hello, A, B, let's see, 1, so you can do text to scratching. But yeah, let me turn that off. That's funny stuff. It's kind of random because it's typing out weird stuff. But yeah, so let's go back to this. Yeah, so this is the classical way people are, used to seeing the Matrix posters, with the white background. But yeah, with scratch notation, there's no color to it. It's just the use of three main symbols, just the line showing the direction it's going. Upward direction is forward, downward direction is going backwards or reverse. I'm sorry, slope, let's say, not direction, but upward slope is forward, downward slope is backwards. So just going forwards and back is a baby scratch for people that don't understand this. And then, anytime you're doing a click with the crossfader, you're just having a black dot. Anytime you're starting with the crossfader open, so you hear the w sound, like the starting from 0 sound, you're going to see that white symbol. So you're going to hear that on like a flare scratch. So it sounds wooka wooka, so it, has a different sound than just going da 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 da, which would be like a transform. Like, let's say, it's a 4-sound transform. It sounds similar, but it's different. And this has all those nuances. All right, so yeah, I really, really recommend this M9 thing. It's a 9-inch device. It's only $100. Which is great. It's got the Android operating system on it. So we got the Mac OS version and the Android version. Shout out to all the people that have supported it. And we're gonna be doing a lot of tutorials like this, and even Q&As and things like that. And yeah, so we're gonna be grinding. A lot of stuff is dropping this year. We're actually, due to cryptocurrency and all those things, we're going to be coming, through with a lot more funding and a lot more products, for you guys. So the battle record's dropping this year. Finally, Skater Girl's coming out this year. It's on, as far as, digital platforms like Tubi is coming out. It just got licensed by Tubi and Apple Music. But the battle record from the one side is the theme of the soundtrack that's already been out for a while, but side B's coming out, and it's gonna all come out on vinyl on a 7-inch. So everybody that's a Kickstarter supporter, thank you so much. Everybody's gonna get their battle records, and if you want to get the Kickstarter package, you can just send us the same amount on PayPal for that. So this app right here is $40 right now, and then if you want all the classical bundle versions, you can still get a deal for just $40 right now. But normally we're doing the bundle with all the versions being like $60 for the hybrid version and $50 for the classical version. But yeah, shout out to everybody that's been waving. And let me just show a little bit more of the dynamics of this app before we wrap it up. So that's one of my favorites right now, the 2-click M Flare. But I just want to show y'all what happens when we speed that up. And I'm also going to show y'all the calculator. So right now we're at 100. Let's just select this whole thing. And let's type 200 beats per minute. So now it's going super fast. right? So that's going super, super fast, right? All right, so let's look at the calculator mode. When we have the calculator mode right here, oh, I gotta unmute it. Whoops, calculator. All right, so with the calculator mode, you can press 16 divided by 3 equals, right, 5.3333, right? So you can use this to make battle records, to do calculations. It's a 100-button calculator that I invented. I was like, you know what? I've never seen a 100-button calculator. So, you know, I added this to this, and I made each button link with all the 100 buttons of the PMOS, so you can actually, you know, you can actually do that.